3, 2, 1. We're back with episode 55. 55. And,
We're getting close to your number.
Yeah.
yeah, 58, you know. We left all you skill guys way behind. As a lineman, you gotta wait a bit. We're used to it. No love, just hanging out in the back. It's all
It's
good.
fine. You're a protector, though.
Yeah, you know. Well, according to my dreams, I'm protecting a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just was fighting everyone in the world last night. Woke up and I was like, good thing, because I wouldn't have made it. It only would have happened in a dream. I was severely outnumbered, but sometimes in a dream you can be Rambo, and it's okay.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Jay, baby. I love it.
Yeah, I was a little more like John Wick or Sherlock Holmes. I was like a blend, but I made it through. So I'm here this morning. I didn't get taken out in my dreams. No Freddy Krueger. I didn't get it was, nothing like that. No Nightmare on Lakeland Boulevard. It was good, but we're back. Another Saturday morning in the studio. Yeah, how was your guys' week?
Hey, today's book signing day.
Book signing day, Milk and Honey. So if you missed it, you guys can
That's
go
on
check
you.
out the operation-dot.square site. It's not a .gov,
No, it's not
No.
.gov.
so we're good.
legit.
Yeah, you can get there. You can get your books.
That's right. And thank you for all of you that continue to keep purchasing the bundles and the books. 'Cause
Yeah, it's been fun.
it's actually going fairly well, and the support's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been super cool. Yeah, and then we learned that like we all have. Not only are we trying to get schedules for recording, but then you realize real quick like the different schedules we have for like just getting everyone together to sign before we send them out and those kind of
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a good thing HQ's here at the gym because before I left yesterday morning, he's like, hey, you need to sign these books. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. Because, yeah, trying to get in, like, this week's been long. Like, I've been 5 o'clock or later, probably 3 or 4 nights. So it's just been a chaotic week.
That's good, man. I mean, it's just like every week we get on here, we're like, it's been a crazy week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like crazy. It's a prime example of seasons.
Sure.
Like, for the longest time,
Yep.
like it was always me on, and I always had something going on where you guys were picking
Yep.
me up, and now
Yep.
it's like, and I'm sure Colton, your time will come, and Vince and I'll have to pick
Oh, yeah.
you up.
Yeah, that's why you gotta train others up. Like I
right.
gotta
Yeah.
train Adam how to use all this stuff.
Hey,
Because
I'm
we
ready
were
and
talking
willing.
yesterday, it's like Colton hasn't missed an episode, and I said not for lack of trying, I just can't. So yeah, it's been cool. I think it goes back to, like we talk a lot about uncomfortability and growth. Like I don't know how to do any of this stuff, but like you just have to learn it and watch YouTube videos and research and learn something new, and then you eventually get a little bit better at it.
Yeah, that's-
or worse.
That's the majority of my job is
Yeah.
I've learned on the job. Like I said, we're hanging basketball hoops at the boss's house, and I've never hung one of those before. So and the guy that I work with, we're just going, okay, follow these instructions. Well, that doesn't look right. We need more of this. Call the manufacturer, and he's like, oh yeah, you should do. So yeah, it's learn as we go on a lot of things. I mean, as dads, there's no, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, there's no manual for that. So we just kind of learn as you go. And, we had a conversation with Austin this week that, he and I were butting heads last week. And like, look, man, like this is your first time being 17, 18 years old. This is my first time parenting a 17 or 18-year-old. Like, I know how my emotions were, but I don't know how your emotions are and this and that. It was a good conversation, but it was just like, I'm learning as I go just as much as you are, man.
And I think that's probably the biggest take from that, what you just said, because we've talked about it before. That's why you have to go down to their level. You can't just allow them to think that they're going to come up to your level because you have all that experience and knowledge, and they don't know how to troubleshoot all that because they haven't lived through all that yet. So anything that they're doing right now, you have to come down to them, meet them eye to eye, and work that whole problem out together and just have a conversation and communicate.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think too, like the transparency, like I don't know what you have to like make your feelings and what you're feeling known. Otherwise, like even if I don't think it's like super valid, like I at least have to know, and I'll validate it the best I can and talk you through it. But if I don't know what you're feeling, like how am I supposed to guess?
Yeah. I always use the analogy, I'm not Magneto off
that's good,
X-Men.
yeah.
You know, I can't read
That
minds.
goes
and I
over
can't-
every kid's head.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not a
Who's
magnet?
Magneto?
Yeah, you're not a magnet?
Magneto wasn't reading minds, though.
I thought he was reading minds.
No,
Oh, see,
he was the
Adam's
magnet.
off.
It's Professor Xavier. He's
Professor
the one that
X.
reads minds.
Magneto was a magnet.
Yes.
He pulled all the stuff.
Yeah.
He couldn't read minds.
My bad.
Well, Adam's kids are going to be real
change-
confused. They're going to be like,
Change up.
yeah, yeah. His kids are going to be like, my dad's not a
Whoops.
magnet. He doesn't know what's wrong. He's just, but yeah, that's good. I wondered why these didn't stick to him. I love it. No, but I think there's, it was cool because we had this conversation 2 weeks ago about community and finding people that can tell you certain things. And I had a student that was struggling with like college choices a little bit and was talking about, well, I think I want to go here because it's closer to home because they've got a better program in this. And this student had already picked another school a couple hours away and was like set on it forever. Well, now it's like, well, I think I want to go because the program's better. I just called him out. And I was like, so are you going to sit here and tell me that you can look back in like 15 years and say, yeah, I chose that because the program was better and not a single ounce of me was because I was a little fearful
Yep.
of going away. And then it was like, crap. Why'd you call me out on that? Like, I didn't want anybody to voice that because I was going to be deep down. I wasn't going to speak to it. I was just going to convince myself, and I was going to convince others. So now they've got to really look at, the choice. And, we talked about, well, you prayed about it, when you were looking for a school, and you felt like God was telling you to go here, and now you're going to go back and say, no. I was wrong. I didn't, like, either you weren't listening to God correctly, and you're going to use that as the excuse, or you're going to be like, well, it changed. Well, I don't think it fully changed for this person, but I think it's that fear of the unknown. And you're going to go through that. Like, I think Liz will experience that as we get closer. She's going to start to feel like, maybe I was supposed to just stay here, and it's because it's comfortable. But I just love that going to college season because it does force them to have to grow up a little bit. Like they have to make it's a big decision to make as an 18-year-old, which I don't always think is fair. But it's a tough time.
It forces them out of their comfort zone.
Oh,
And
for
the
sure.
old saying is you don't grow in your comfort zone. So if you want to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. Go out and experience the new areas, the new life that you're trying to build, and just enjoy it. I mean, really, because once you get out and get away from what's your usual, your norm, then you find yourself and you find other people that are more like you, and then that's where that expansion of your everything in you just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, because with Elizabeth, we had multiple conversations, and I really do feel like we probably started planting little seeds in her head a long time ago about her just trying to find herself whenever that time came for her to make a choice and a decision. And like you guys said, being uncomfortable, but we also reminded her that, you will have support.
Yeah.
You even though you'll be up there and you will be on your own, these are the things that are going to happen because it happens almost the majority of most college kids. And we actually had a friend of ours their daughter actually went up there and spent 6 months and came back for reasons of just that aren't just really true.
Yeah.
But the kid was dead set, and so they moved her back. And so we had those conversations with Elizabeth about, well, this isn't going to happen because you have to give it a chance. And if we know if you're not giving it a full honest chance, then we'll have to address it then. But just know that you're going up there not only for just higher education of learning, but you're also going up there to try to find yourself. You've spent, since you were 3 years old, you've been going back and forth between your mom and your dad's house, and you're kind of a people pleaser. And it's time for you to stop thinking about others. And honestly, it's time for you to be selfish a little bit and start thinking about yourself. Now, granted, don't be doing that for a long period of time, but it's within a reason of like as you watch her grow and her personality, it's like there's just times you can tell she doesn't want to do certain things, but she just still does them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, these next 4 years, you have to start trying to find yourself and grow in a way that you're passionate about, not what everybody else wants you to do.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing, we didn't plan on getting on the topic of college today, but it's a good topic. And for me, with littles, I've got to remind myself to go back and listen to these when they go, because I feel like I've got some good insight on it, seeing kids go to college every year, and then myself, and some of the things that were the best advice that I got that I've tried to share is now, not every kid has to go to college, but I do think there's value in getting away from where you grew up. Because especially here, we're in small town, central Illinois, there's a level of I never left.
Yeah.
And all of us have left at some point.
Right.
And we came back because we saw the value and we liked the values and the things that this place has to offer. But if we never left, you're stuck in that, because I went to school with them, right? Where, well, this place is terrible. If I just got to get out.
Yeah.
And it's you never did, but you're going to continue to tell yourself, man, the grass, this place is terrible. It's once you get out, then you have the privilege to come back and see it for what it's worth. But if you never leave, then you just see all the negative stuff about a small town. And so that leaving, that's hard. And so what I was telling this student the other day that was, it was a little upset and scared and fearful, was that's a really good thing to be that way. Because if Liz come July is just struggling and super upset all the time, because it's going to happen. Because the reality starts to set in. I leave in a month. I leave in 3 weeks. I leave in 2 weeks. I've got 10 days left. It's my last supper. That means that they were loved here, and they had a place here, and that they have a community here, and they don't want to leave it. And that's all really good. But that'll be here. That doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away.
And then on the parent side, what I try to remind parents of, and again remind myself of in 15 years, is they don't get to come home every weekend.
No.
I can go visit them, and I can tell them, hey, you better find a place for us to eat that's cool. You better find some stuff for us to do, because they got to get out and they've got to put themselves in the community. Because what you were talking about, coming home after 6 months, I watched year after year freshmen come in to football. They would go to practice, they would go to class, and then you'd never see them.
Now, real fast.
Ever.
Then, so as a parent, is there an obligation to almost force them to stay?
So that's a great point. So when I came home after my first season, I came home at Thanksgiving, and I said to my mom, I said, well, that was fun. Now I can go to Easter, and I did it. And it was a jokingly Colton comment.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, nope, you don't get to do that. And I don't know if I really would have, but I think a part of me was looking for her to be like, if that's what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then it was my out.
That maybe she missed you.
Yeah. That that's an option. I can, because this is kind of brutal.
Yeah.
But then, when I came back, I wanted to go after Christmas. Was ready to go back. And then after summer, I couldn't wait to go back.
Yeah.
Because football was a nice thing. It forced me to know people. And then second semester, you didn't have everything with football every day. It was a little bit of the off season. So then I got to get plugged into other things and explore the city and had weekends free and had friends. And so there is that obligation. What I was telling this student is, when you get there and you're really homesick, you don't get to come home that first weekend, because you got to go, position yourself around all the welcome week stuff, all the stuff where you meet people, all the things where you get plugged into groups. Because if you just hide out, you will become you will just exist, and no one will. And it's not because no one wants to know you. It's not because it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because you haven't put yourself out there to meet people and build a community.
Well, and you're selling yourself short on your gift, talents, and abilities. If you just hover in a corner and not say or participate in anything, this is the time for you to go and grow and honestly at times make some poor choices and learn from those choices, obviously within reason. But this is a big time for her and for all the ones that here soon will be going back to school. So like, it's an opportunity that most don't get, and I think it's also a time where you look back and you reflect on the years at home, the years in school, whatever sport it may be. Even as an athlete, that's even added pressure. But at the same time, you're going to get so much more out of it by just stepping away and being uncomfortable.
Well, and you don't want to live with the, well, what if?
Oh, it's good.
What if I went?
Yes.
And had a good time?
Yep.
What if I tried something new? Like being at home, if you never left Mattoon and you just stuck here and you were working your factory job, working at Linder's.
Yep.
But man, I always wanted to try this. I wish I would have.
But then that becomes
Then you just
subconsciously you become scared of everywhere. Oh, you can't go to Chicago. We'll get shot.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you probably won't.
Not even really scared. You're scared too, but you're also, then you become that person who makes all the comments about the others who take steps out and take chances.
Yep.
And
that won't work. You'll be back here in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, or 6
That
years.
bitterness,
like
that
for
bitterness.
me, like I'll be back here in 6 years, and I'll have a different view on life, and I'll have different connections. I'll have different, talents and abilities that have grown and learned from different people that were from different backgrounds.
Well, look at this, what we're doing.
Right.
This is a prime example. Like, we never thought this was going to be a thing.
Sure.
55 episodes ago.
No.
Yeah, and let people, like we talked about it before, like let the people talk.
Yeah.
Like let them talk.
People at work are like, a couple of them who I guess never downloaded the episodes, but they did this week are like, you guys done 54?
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't miss? I was like, no, it's kind of our thing. We don't miss.
Yeah.
They can all talk, but they can come see us in Columbus in
at
5
the
weeks
Arnold.
and
I love
see
it.
Yeah.
how
I love
everything's
it.
rolling.
But yeah, and that's so true in terms of just taking a little bit of a risk, because I don't know, I could be way off in my thoughts on this, and people can debate me, and I'm open to hear things, but I think there's so much excitement and value in that 18 to 25 because you have no risk.
100%. Yeah.
The risk is so little.
Yes.
Like, okay, you failed and you've got $5,000 in debt now, but you didn't have bills. You didn't have, no one's relying on you. Like, you don't have a family. You don't have kids. You don't have a wife or a husband. Go try it.
It's truly your get out of jail free card.
Yeah, because no one is going to.
They expect you to misstep because you're young, and that's.
Yes.
I mean, obviously your brain isn't fully developed.
And if you go into it with a little knowledge and you don't, because there's people that really mess themselves up 18 to 25.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not telling you to end up in rehab. I'm telling you to just go try something. Adam and I went and got our hair cut yesterday, and the lady that was cutting my hair, I was talking to her. She was from Decatur and was talking about she went to Atlanta for a year. And she was like, I was like, so how'd you end up back here? She's like, I got chewed up and spit out. She's like, I liked it, but she's like, I just couldn't. She's like, it wasn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
She's like, I was making enough money to pay my bills, and that was it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I could never get ahead there. And she's like, it was cool. But then she talked about, but she gets to look back and say, well, I tried it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Instead of living with what if I went to
what if?
Atlanta?
Yep.
What if I went to Atlanta? And so for me, I'm just a huge advocate to, well, what if I went to Columbus? What if I had gone to Columbus? What if I'd messaged Corey 16 times? What if I, what if I went to Fort Myers? What if I coached? And some of that still is in me that I have to push down at 30, because now there is a higher risk.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot higher risk.
It's not about you now. It's about them.
It's about I'm not just me. It's got to be, is this right for my kids and my wife? But at 18 to 25, if you got kids that are thinking about college, or I'm not saying they have to go to college, but whatever it is,
college, military, trade school,
workforce,
just go find a job somewhere. Anything.
Yeah.
Go.
And find a job that doesn't keep you right where you are.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to find something where there's growth.
Yeah.
And whether it's a forklift operator, but there's there's a chance for them to get somewhere inside that business or that operation. Because I looked at First Form, and they were starting out their forklift drivers at 16. But I'm like, if I moved to Fenton, did that, we all moved down to Fenton. Like I look at, and I'm just thinking, man, just because I'm in the door, I'm inside.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I'm not driving past that building and
Right.
thinking, what if?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go be a forklift operator.
Hey,
and
go for it if you want to. I'm just telling you that would be a nice 18 to 25-year-old.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yes, that would be a nice 18 to 25-year-old thing to uproot your life because it's just you.
Well, right.
We can plan it after our retirement now. Once the kids are
Yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
house, then we'll be like, hey, we'll just go drive a forklift. And
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
But going back to college, and we'll probably talk about this more as we get closer to when kids are leaving in the fall. But for Liz, I always think about the objections that students have to getting close to leaving. Well, I don't want to go. I don't want to. It's like you do realize that if you stay, nothing stays the same. Your friends, half of them are going to leave.
Yep.
Half of them are going to be working. If you go to school here, you're going to be going to school and working at a job that you've worked at before, whether it be the coffee shop or a salon or, fast food, whatever it is. That's the job you're going to have that you've worked in high school. And your friends, some friends are going to leave, some are going to stay, they're going to change. And what you are trying to hold on to, that's the cool thing about life, is you can never grasp and hold on to a moment. So as much as you all love each other senior year and you don't want to leave each other, you don't get to it's fleeting. It doesn't stay. You don't stay there. And so if you're trying to hold on to that, you're going to miss everything else because you're trying to hold on to this one moment. And so, I think it's cool. I don't know.
I mean, that's what happened to me. I mean, I was 23 and realized that everyone else was moving forward, and I was stuck in the past that
Holding on to
wasn't
high
the
school.
same. And so it was time for me to make a change, and finally I
good.
took a step of the unknown.
And
Well,
you went
that's-
really far away.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I was one of those that made a decision to leave, and then when it got closer, because I had signed up to go to the Army right out of high school, and as it got closer, I was like, I don't want to leave my family. Like, we're a tight knit family. Like, I don't want. This is comfortable. I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. I'd
Oh,
rather
yeah.
go work, and then so backed out of that, just to turn around 2 years later and go, all right, now it's time for me
Yeah.
to go. And I went, and part of me regrets not just staying in the first time, because who knows what could have happened. I would have had a different job and loved it and stayed in.
Yeah.
I look at buddies of mine that have been in for 20 plus years, and they've
Yeah.
traveled all over the world. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I could have done that. But I lived, I learned, and I'm where I'm at
and
today.
I don't think there's any mistakes
No.
that I make because it led me to where I am.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Someone else had a plan and purpose for you.
Yeah.
There was that, whatever that conviction was to stay, there was a reason for that. So, I've done that with myself too, where I backtrack and think, well, what if? But I'm like, I'm not doing this thing right now at this very moment had those things not happened for me or for us. I think it's all for a plan and purpose. So whether I've got down on myself or had a pity party or made mistakes or I've excelled, whatever the case may be, I'm doing what I'm doing right now because that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Well, and on that same thing, it's got to be hard, then working with the parents, trying to get them to be, because they know that they're ready to go and leave and have
Yep.
their life, but there's still a part that you can't ask a parent. If I really pushed my mom that Christmas,
Yeah.
it would have been really hard for her to be like, yeah, I want you to leave.
Yeah.
Because a part of her wanted me to stay, I'm sure, and I don't want you gone, 3.5 hours away. Sure, stay. And 3.5 hours isn't that long, visit and come home when you needed to, not when you wanted to. But there also is that level of, have I done my duty as a parent to say they're ready? And they're not ever fully ready.
No.
But are they capable? Can they figure this out? And if they fall, I'm there to pick them up.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to let that go. And so for me, I try to remind myself 15 summers, and Asher's going to school somewhere or going into the workforce. And 15's not a lot. When I was 15, I thought 15 was a lot.
Oh yeah,
and now
I get it.
I'm doubled
I
that,
agree.
and it's like, well, that's just, I'll be 45. Like, I'll be your age.
Yeah, you will be our age.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
We won't talk about how old we'll be then.
Yeah, you'll be pushing 60.
Gosh, 15 years.
Yeah, we'll be on
48.
episode
58.
497, and you guys will be like, I remember back in the time when
we just kicked this thing off, man. Look at us now.
Yeah, we'll just have AI people doing this for us.
Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah.
tell them what to say.
We'll keep
By
our,
that point, we'll all be sitting in our little pods at our home, like
Hold on.
like the movie WALL-E, and just
We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to wrinkle the logo, and we're gonna do Operation Granddad.
Granddad. Oh, I like it. I like it.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Man,
Hey, what are we gonna do when that time comes? Because it's gonna hit one of us first.
it's not too far away.
No, it's not.
I'm
Well,
literally.
hopefully for me, it's a little far away.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got.
Yeah,
you
I got
a
time.
while.
You guys, you guys,
both have 17,
18-year-olds. Yeah, you guys.
I
daughters.
figured-
4 or 5 years, 6 years.
I mean, yeah, 8 years.
8 years?
I mean, I'll be 49.
Whew. Well, I think that just goes to show, like, the seasons change, but the leadership doesn't necessarily.
Wow. So I was just reading in my book last night about the 365 days as a dad, and then there's-
Daily dad.
Yeah, they're all little stories, and
Yeah.
one of them last night was about your grandparents and how much they affect your life, whether you know it or not, whether you met them, knew them, anything. What they did affects you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because what they did, raising your parents and how they were taught, and then how your parents have raised you. So like one person affects 3 generations
Yeah,
of families.
absolutely.
And so when you bring that up, it's just like, yeah, like my parents will affect me, and then my kids, and then I'll affect my kids and my grandkids, and so on.
Well, we talk about leading the next generation.
Yeah.
That means we're going to have an impact. I think you speak to it. Like, the decisions we make don't just impact our kids,
No.
but they have an impact for generations because of the good or bad. Like, my mom's parents affected the way that she was raised, which in turn affected the way she raised me. My dad the same way, and then they have influence because if they're still around, they have influence. Or the opposite. My grandpa, who I was really close to, passed away when I was 5, and that's some of the first memories that I have.
Yep.
Is like, I vividly remember at 5 the funeral, and like understanding, trying to wrap a 5-year-old trying to wrap his head around death had to have had some influence in my life. And
Right.
that was outside of his control, but like that has an influence just because of the situation, and so that's going to impact. We're on Raimi. Raimi's never lost anyone close
Yeah.
to her ever, and so she's like, I don't even know what I'll do, and I'm like, and I've lost,
Yeah.
thankfully it's just been 2 significant people, but I lost my grandpa at 5 and my 50-year-old uncle at 13. Like, I had worked through that stuff as a young person. Raimi's 31.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know what, she's like, I'm not going to be able to handle this. And I'm like, you will, but like, it is hard.
Yeah.
Well, and I just thinking about that because, so my mom passed away in our house. She was on hospice. Aria would have been 3. Elizabeth would have been 10, going to turn 11, and like it's a pretty vivid moment in their lives. And even Aria at 3, like she still, because like you said, my mom had a huge impact on just her from the time that she was born until she passed away when she was 3. Like she remember now. Granted, I have pictures and videos and stuff to like kind of help keep that memory, and that's kind of what we do. But I didn't even think about my grandparents, like the ones who impacted me, like my granddad, my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side. Like my granddad was in Florida. I was my first year in college. My dad gets a phone call early in the morning. I, for whatever reason, didn't go to class. It was just my dad and I. Phone rings. I heard my dad say, "Oh no." I come out. My dad looks at me and just dead in the eyes and said he didn't make it, and I automatically knew.
Yep.
So we hugged, and I went straight to my mom. Same thing. Said he didn't make it. Mom just could not. She's like, "You're kidding me. I thought your granddad would live forever." Because he was such a good shape. Then, like my grandma, I literally had just got off the plane of Iraq in July of 2007, July 3rd. My birthday was on the 6th. I just talked to my grandma on the 2nd. We were in Kuwait. she's going to make my birthday cake. And so then we get home. I'm in Bloomington. They pick me up in a limo. It's July 5th. And then my cousin calls and says, Grandma had a heart attack. So my mom and I get back to Mattoon. We rush over to Shelbyville. We get there, and we just missed her.
Oh.
Like, she passed away.
Yeah.
And the next day is my birthday. You know, like, it was just, but like, not that that's, but it was like, those were hard moments for me to like have to like think about that, just because, you know, they did have such a huge influence on me, mainly because I'm a divorced kid, and that's where I spent a lot of my time on weekends and stuff was with my grandparents. You know, and they were a huge part of my adolescence, my teenage years, and just all that stuff. So like, it was just, you know, and I got to spend a lot of time with them where some haven't, but like I'm grateful for those moments. And when I think about all the stuff that we're doing, like I think about them during all this, because they would love this. You know, they truly would be like, man, this is cool.
Well, here's the cooler thing, and I've got a old church meeting here in a minute, but I think this will be a good spot to end. You know, talking about impact and influence for generations. So my uncle had his flaws, but he loved music, and he was a musician, and so he recorded tons of music, and I have all of it, and I get to listen to it and you see his life. When he first started out, he was making gospel albums, and then you see when he started to write his own music, and then you see the switch to the oldies, like, because that was his thing, and then you get, like, the coolest one I have is he's got because back then you were using a cassette player, and the first 4 songs are his, like, professionally recorded in studio, like, songs that he wrote.
Oh, wow.
And then the next, like, 18 tracks, because it was like, what, a Maxwell 90? So you got like 90 minutes of music. It's like him singing and then being like, whoo, that was rough, but we got there. Like, oh, like, and then him just being like, do 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 do, like him just messing. And like, I listen to it, my cousins listen to it, and it's like, man, he's right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for our kids and our grandkids, that's what I think about these. They may not, like my grandkids may not know me, depending on when they're born, or know me well. I may not see them when they're 18, 19, 20 years old. But someday when they ask about grandpa,
When they become a dad.
They're going to say, what did my grandpa have to say about this?
Right.
And they're going to get to hear, man, grandpa and his friends were stupid. Like, but they'll get to, you know, it's that leaving a legacy of something that they can grasp. That's not just stuff. You know, it's like, I love the shirts that my uncle, you know, that I got from my uncle, but nothing is better than like having something that he made.
Right.
That I can hear him. That's the cool thing.
Oh, this is like why you remember your why, you know, and don't take advantage of the time that you do have, because, you know, I look back and not really wish, but just I miss, you know, having my grandparents. So I guess on a closing thought of just making sure you're remembering your why, because the why isn't about you.
Right.
It's about the legacy you leave and how to inspire others.
So I talked with Chuck yesterday, and he was talking, you know, he wants to do this and this and this. He's like, I gotta get my health in line. And I told him, I said, look, time is your most valuable resource. More than money. You can make all the money in the world.
100%.
But time is your most valuable one. And your health helps with time. Like if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're shortening your time here on earth. So take care of yourself and enjoy the time. And like you said, remember why. Enjoy the time that you have with those that you love and whatnot, because
at some point they leave or we leave.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, 9 years ago, my dad could have been gone like that. And by the grace of God, he's not. But
Amen.
You don't know when that time is up. So take as much time as you have and as much time as you can, and enjoy every minute with all of them.
Absolutely.
I love it. That's episode 55.
Peace.